Today we're celebrating Asian Pacific American Heritage Month with Disney legend Lea Salonga. I'm Jenny.
I'm Andre, and this is What's Up Disney Plus, where we talk all things Disney Plus.
She is the first Asian woman to win a Tony Award for Best Actress in a Musical, the singing voice for Jasmine and Mulan, a Disney legend, and a trailblazer. Please welcome Lea Salonga, everyone. Thank you so much for being here, Lea. We are so happy to have you.
Thank you very much.
Very exciting and such an honor to have you here because we're celebrating both your career and also celebrating Asian Pacific American Heritage Month. And speaking of your career, 43 years in the theater, such an achievement. How does that feel?
Oh my gosh. I don't even know what exactly to say. I mean, how does 43, it feels exhausting at points. I'm not gonna lie. It feels tiring. But it feels pretty darn fantastic that I'm actually still around and I'm actually still singing. And that I still get to do what I love to do.
All right, we have to talk about your impressive Broadway career. You originated the role of Kim in Miss Saigon. You're the first Asian woman to play both Eponine and Fantine in Les Miserables on Broadway. You won the Tony Award for Best Actress in a Musical, making you the first Asian woman to win that award. What does it mean to you to bring that representation to the stage?
Wow. As an Asian performer, going up on stage, it always felt like, I don't know, I was thinking about this a couple of nights ago. Like, what does it mean to represent your people, your country, whenever you step out on a stage? I mean, as a person of color, already I feel that I have to be twice as good as everybody else. But yeah, I remember feeling a lot of stress and pressure of representing my country, however many millions there were at the time, whenever I would step out on the stage. And it's a big responsibility because there are people looking up at me from where they're seated and wondering, what is this person going to bring to the table? And what does this person have that is so special that she is standing up on that stage in the West End or on Broadway? So I felt, especially when I was doing Les Miserables, I felt that I needed to really sing that song on my own, to sing it really, really well every time I went up on that stage. Because it wasn't just me up on that stage. It was every other Filipino performer, every other Asian performer, every Asian American performer. If I'm able to do this well, it'll only make it easier for the person behind me. It'll only make it easier for the next Asian or Asian American performer that will be audacious enough to want to do this. So if whatever I went through has made it easier for other young Asian performers to get into this, if it's made it less crazy, it's worth it.
I love that answer so much.
Yeah.
And it's true. You do have to work twice as hard, 3 times as hard. So it's really special that you're not just thinking about your own performance, you're thinking about your entire community. And you're thinking about performers to come, that you are opening so many doors.
Yeah, you don't think about necessarily opening, like blasting the door open. Sometimes opening it a crack, it's more than enough because then the door will just open if there's more force behind it.
So agree.
So you provided the singing voice to Princess Jasmine and Mulan. What about these roles drew you in? Do you see any bit of yourself in these roles, in Mulan, in Princess Jasmine? Tell us all about it.
They held auditions, and one very cold winter day, I went in and met Alan Menken and Tim Rice, who wrote A Whole New World. I sang Part of Your World from The Little Mermaid. And then at the real thing, I was singing in a room populated by a huge orchestra. The main instruction was you really have to channel all your energy into the vocal. that is what the animator is going to draw and create against that vocal performance. I just really had to pump all of the emotional commitment into the voice. I think I latched on stronger with Mulan because it was a character that looked like me. She's an animated character, but she's representing so many Asian women. There was so much determination and grit in this character. There was so much toughness to her, but there was also so much softness. When I saw the whole movie for the first time after it was fully animated, I was just like, she is absolutely incredible. And she is representing so many of us that look like her. And I also love that she didn't have to be married off to a prince for her story to be complete. That she on her own was complete. And I think for, not just for Asian women, but for all women, to see that story, it's like, oh, I am enough. It's a strong message to send to young women. Your identity does not hinge upon a partner. That's pretty powerful in 1998 to be telling young women.
I remember the impact that Mulan left on me. I always felt, closer to the strong female characters in these Disney films, and Mulan to me was one of the strongest I've ever seen. And it empowered me as a kid. So I'm so glad that you were able to contribute to this fantastic story and this character. May is Asian Pacific American Heritage Month. What do you think is the importance of being an Asian American talent in today's industry?
I don't know that anyone realizes the impact of seeing someone that looks like you, doing what they love to do, and not being, pigeonholed into some other occupation that they may not be right for. So, as far as my own calling and my own vocation and my own decision to be a performer, if it means that there are people that look at me and say, if she's able to do it, then I can do it too. And if there are little girls in an audience of Malaysian, Chinese, Korean, Filipino, Thai descent that are in a theater and look up at me as I'm singing, or watch Raya and watch the character be this strong warrior woman and go, oh my gosh, she looks like me. Maybe there's a reason I am seeing this. So there is going to be a generation of young artists influenced by the artists of today. And people are going to keep coming up and, showing themselves. But it's also important for our stories to keep getting told. So yeah, it's great to be an Asian performer and have people look at me and think I can do that. But it's also important that there is room made for people like me to do what it is we love to do.
When you first did Les Mis, right? You said you were the only Asian woman, the only woman of color on the ensemble. And then later on, you started seeing that there's been some progress. But I know there's still a long way to go for the AAPI community. So I want you to touch upon that. How far along do you feel representation in the industry has come for the AAPI community? And what are things that you hope to see in the near future?
There has been a lot of representation, and I'm glad that there has been progress made, but there still needs to be more because it is such a multicultural world, which means that there are so many stories yet that have not been told. And until all of those are told with equity, if all of these stories are given importance, and if people patronize these films or these musicals or these plays where stories of all sorts of people of color get told with respect, without any dehumanization, without objectification, and that we are portrayed as three-dimensional flesh and blood human beings that don't fit into a category or in a particular box, then I think once we get to that point, and this is casting rooms and also people behind the scenes, people who are directing and producing and writing, as well as on camera. I think once there are more of us in there, then we can really say that more progress will have been made.
Beyond the importance of you seeing yourself represented, it's also great for people who have no idea about these cultures to see these people, and then that's where empathy comes into play. And I think this now ties into what's happening right now.
Yeah, ultimately that's what everybody wants, is to be seen, to be appreciated, and to be looked at as if we're human. It's one thing I think every human on this earth is entitled to.
In light of current events, is there anything you'd like to share or say to the AAPI community?
If there is a message that I have for the AAPI community, especially those who are younger and seeing so much of what is happening, don't lose your humanity over what is happening. You know, we are much better than this. I mean, yes, we have to be angry. I'm not saying don't be angry. Yes, express your outrage. Voice out whatever you are feeling. You know, don't keep it bottled up inside. There is no shame in who we are. In being Asian, there should not be any shame in that. And the more we stand up and say we are human beings, stop this attack on us. Stop looking at us as if we are nothing to you. You know, but let us not lose our humanity. We need to absolutely empathize with the families that have gone through this loss, with the communities that are hurting. There are so many resources now available online for those of us that want to learn. So let's keep learning about our shared history regarding our presence in the United States, but let us also remain absolutely human and vulnerable and open and help the community. If you are an ally of somebody who's Asian, if you have friends who are Asian, talk to them and ask them about their history. The American experiment is a continuing thing. And I think we all owe it to ourselves to learn as much as we can about everyone that has made it into the country with their own dreams of a better life.
Lea, it was such an honor to talk with you today, to talk to you about your career and to hear your inspiring words for the AAPI community. Thank you so much for your representation. Congratulations for all your achievements, and really appreciate you being here today.
Oh, thanks. Thanks for having me.
That's it for our episode. A big thank you once again to Lea Salonga.
You can check out some of the resources that were mentioned in the conversation in the description. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time.